stream, folks. Welcome to the stream. Just fired it up. We already got a viewer. Oh, we did. They're gone. They are gone.
Some leftover. So how long was Dr. C's rebuttal?
An hour.
An hour, so 3
It's
hours.
an hour.
3 hour original, another 1 hour, one hour analysis. Wow.
Yeah, let's maybe not get into that.
That was rough. That was rough medical stuff there for us.
Yeah.
Analysis.
Oh.
Gotta love Dr. Z though.
Z-Dog.
Z-Dog, MD.
Funny enough, I think people have turned on him.
Yeah.
Which is funny because so Z-Dog MD, you guys probably heard of him. He's one of these YouTuber doctors who, he had a career and he got into medical explanation videos, which obviously took off during all this business. But you can tell he's gotten really frustrated, kind of like I have a little bit in the last couple of years. I had some people that have constantly sent me videos to try and get me to debunk and this and that, and I realized pretty quickly, some people have I really enjoy good faith arguments and discussions with people, and look, I've never been somebody to go and shame or harass people for what they think is right, and I know these are sensitive times, etc., but there are a lot of people I find who are not scientifically literate or medically literate who No, I'm thinking of the opposite of this. We're like, hey, hi, Frank. Where we, we'll have discussions, and the post is always moving, right? So there's a lot of people who have a lot of reason to be concerned about what's going on. I totally get that, and I think Z-Dog. He gets that, and actually, he goes against a lot of the current COVID stuff that's being kind of, the momentum is kind of carried it this way. But anyway, I really liked his approach, trying to think through things logically and rationally. But anyway, I guess bigger point was that I think people have really turned on him in the last year, because if you don't, what did we do today? We got into middle of Nebraska last night, super late, like midnight. In fact, this was even funnier. So Rod finally had his test that was supposed to happen at Frank's house at night, and that actually ended up being yesterday. So we searched for a Starbucks where we could go and get some Wi-Fi, and then okay, we're gonna get there just in time. We'll have like 10 minutes to spare, but it was like 2 hours. Are we gonna lose service out here? And anyway, look behind me. There's a Texas Roadhouse. Go there. We can use cell phones for like the Wi-Fi. You need to take the online test. And we get to the Texas Roadhouse, classic like country Nebraska. Oh, bad connection. We're hearing. Shoot.
Okay, you want to switch to mine here?
We can. Why don't we try that? Okay, just give us a sec here. We're gonna try the MiFi. That's the thing, when you're out in the country, streaming high quality video can be tough.
Need the password?
It's your phone.
Oh,
Let's try this. Alright, hold on. Alright, how about that?
Yeah.
Back now, but we switch to the MiFi. Anyway, so we go to the Texas Roadhouse, and of course they also don't have seats, but they're like, hey, do you guys want to sit at you can just sit at the bar till we get a seat. And, well, that's the only option. So next thing you know, we're at this Nebraska, Texas Roadhouse. Rod's got his laptop, headphones in, taking his exam, and I just sat there and waited for a couple hours and chatted with the locals. So that was fun. And the woman the 90-year-old lady who had just gotten back from Florida told me she had been traveling since 3 a.m. just got back, and she went here to grab a steak before she drove an hour home. So as I'm looking through the menu, she's like, "You're in Nebraska, son, you better get a steak." So anyway, that was fun. Finished the test, and we hit the road.
Hey, even better, under the bar table, they had a power strip stapled to the thing I had. I even had electricity. Besides Wi-Fi, I had they didn't have any Wi-Fi. I'd use my MiFi device, but they had electricity right there, unlike many restaurants or many airports. Oh, too many airports.
Yeah.
Not enough plugs.
Yeah, wow. People were putting back a serious amount of food. The one guy there was a guy across from me who ordered, and this was like a pretty, this guy was just, like a normal looking dude, young guy. He ate an appetizer of shrimp, then he ordered a whole blooming onion, then he ordered a double cheeseburger with bacon and fries, and a massive beer, and he put back most of it. It was pretty impressive. 8 ounces shrimp, yes. Texas Roadhouse. Yep. So.
That's my phone.
Yeah, no problem.
I was trying to figure this was on the.
Pretty good. Bomber.
Whoa.
What's that?
I got 11 gig. He's got a 2.7.
So what, do you get charged for that, or?
I don't know. Let's see. Yesterday, it's been giving me range. It was 1.47.
So, got to the hotel pretty late at like midnight, but we wanted to be in Tremont, Illinois area to go out for breakfast with Uncle Dirk and Erica. So we had to leave at like 5:45. So that was a brief sleep, and then hit the road again. And it was really nice. We actually got to see Dirk and Erica. Went to Bob Evans, got some breakfast. And then Dirk's work was across the street, and that was actually really cool to see. So he does like engineering work with a company that makes machines that like companies like Pfizer or whatever pharmaceuticals use, and it's about processing like kind of the bulk filler stuff, like like the sugar in the pill or whatever, the compounds. So but they do stainless steel work. It's all cut and molded and whatever into things like if you have a barrel, for example, to be able to lift it up and flip it, or to shake it, or break apart the compounds or whatever. But then it's all mixed with like hydraulics, electronics, and it's pretty cool to see. All very cool, custom American-made stuff. So that was cool to see. So he gave us the quick tour. We hit the road. We're on the way to Ohio, Akron, Ohio, where my lovely grandparents are. And assuming we're gonna have a big meal when we get there at like 9:30 or 10 o'clock p.m. So yeah, this was fun, but it gets old quick driving this much. So Dad's been working on his putting the grades in for his classes at the end of the year here. So that's been going well, huh?
I guess. I think I saved. I did the 200 students first, but that was relatively easy. Just downloaded my spreadsheet, added my grading algorithm, and spit out the grades. Already got two complaints. Some students said he got an 89. He thought he had an 89 average and he got a B plus, which is what an 89 comes out to. But he'd like me to upgrade him to an 8 because he really needs the help. So.
Future medical student right there.
Yeah, I guess that's right. You gotta get into medical school. And then I had the one I thought was going to be relatively easy. I only had 8 students, but I see that I just had a couple of them didn't submit their final project, and I was trying to figure out how to handle that. But anyway, yep. So much fun, so much fun.
So we got some good feedback on how this has been going. I guess we had some callers in yesterday. That was fun. Don't have anything planned today. I'm not sure how good the service will be. So yeah, this has been a fun experience to do some live streaming. Maybe next time we'll do it, they'll be even better. We'll have 5G wall-to-wall coverage. Chris from Canada says, I wish you guys would stream 3 hours earlier. I would listen during work. All that. I had an idea of doing like this is kind of separate, not necessarily for personal use or for family and friends, but of doing like a YouTube channel on medical stuff. I don't know. Not sure if I want to venture into that, but let me know what you think. Would that be interesting? Funny enough, I did that video, some of you may know, is my top grossing video on my YouTube channel when I was an ICU fellow on discussing COVID. And I didn't really follow up because it was kind of, didn't really want to. I got a lot of mail after that was all over the place, so I didn't want to, wasn't super keen on keeping that train going. So, our good friend Michael from California, called in yesterday. Let's see, I'm not sure if he should have the invite to the stream today. He had a question for Rod. I want Rod to talk about why he's still going to school and explain his voracious appetite for learning. That's Michael from California.
Well, Josh, it's a tough one. I think it's OCD, but it's just can't that having that stress in your life. It's just hard to doubt that, But no, I just feel like, especially since I've been in a technical career most of my life, it's like I felt like I always had to try to, especially as I got older here, it's gotten worse, or not worse, but more needful, I think, to show that I'm still up on the latest technology and relatively that I'm not your typical old guy, right? And so I think that helped me in times when I changed jobs and when I was older, not necessarily by design. And now I've always wanted to, always thought I would get my PhD someday and teach here the last part of my career. And so now that's what I'm really working on. Of course, what do you want to teach? If I want to teach, I was originally an accountant, or I was an accounting major, and I did a lot of mixture between what was called data processing back then and accounting, and I graduated with my bachelor's in accounting, passed my CPA exam, my CMA exam, many years ago, almost, let's see, 40, 50, anyway, a long time ago. But then my first job, I went into the IT department. I had a choice between going to the IT or the accounting department. I chose IT because I thought it was the way of the future, but I guess I didn't realize how much continuous training that was going to take to keep me at a point where I felt I could stay gainfully employed. and I did get accepted into SU's Syracuse University's PhD program, but I thought I wanted to experience the real world for a while because I appreciated my teachers that had more of a real world experience than these freshly minted PhDs that have never set foot in a real organization and have only lived in academia their entire life. So I stayed in the corporate world a little longer than I expected, but now I'm back on track here. My last job, I was getting burned out being an IT project manager, and I started taking, again, I'm looking forward, well, I don't want to teach the old accounting. I'm kind of aiming for the new accounting, but the new accounting takes a lot more data analytics, artificial intelligence, that type of thing, as opposed to just debits and credits. And basically I looked around, I tried to find a program that would do that for me. Of course I couldn't find one. There's one master's in accounting analytics, although it's really geared mostly towards creating auditors that have some type of analytics specialty. Plus I couldn't find it online or locally. Would have to go face to face. Villanova wanted me to pay $60,000 to come down there for a year.
Yikes.
So yeah, it wasn't real. Didn't feel good. So I'm basically my struggle is here. I'm trying to do my research, be a PhD or a doctoral student at least here. Do my research at the same time. I'm trying to upgrade my accounting skills. So I'm taking courses, one course a semester in graduate accounting courses online. And I completed my master's in data science here before I switched to academia. So what I'm teaching now is computer applications to freshmen, which is kind of underuse of my skill set. But I've been developing some new courses and changing some of the old courses to include more data analytics in them. So, I mean, some of my struggle right now is I feel like I'm trying to skill myself up for jobs that are only starting to appear now, and there's not really established programs to create these. They just put out trying to change the CPA exam by 2024, I think, to change it to add additional data analytics, computer technology topics to it, and they're changing it to be more like the professional engineer exam, where there's a core exam and then there's specialty exams on top of that. So you got to pass the core exam, and then you have to pass one of the specialties, one of which is going to be information systems or some computer-related subject versus, and then taxes and auditing, I believe. So the whole game is changing, and I'm trying to be ahead of the game, but I feel like I'm behind most of the time.
You have a story about kind of within the last year, right? All this responsibility you kind of developed, and then you were questioning: is this, especially around teaching, is this really for you? And then there was something tied back to 9/11 and a coworker. Like that.
Yeah. So I got a couple of stories, So, I mean, one of the things that when you apply to a PhD program, or like most programs, they want you to they want to know what's your rationale and how motivated are you to really do this, and So one of the stories I go back to was I think did I tell the second grade story last time?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Okay, good. I won't repeat that with it. But again, this idea that, towards the end of my career that I wanted to go into teaching. I used to have report to a director in the IT department, and she was very personable, and she was like the daughter of missionaries, so a really interesting person that kind of had the perspective, different perspective than most people I worked with. And anyway, anyway, so we were talking one day, and she said, "Oh, this corporate stuff is kind of nice, but it gets kind of old after a while, and I think I'm gonna, someday I want to go back and get a doctorate and go transition into academia and teach." As I said, "Oh, really?" Because that's kind of what I wanted to do too. And we had both had a contact, or had a academic mentor, at least from Syracuse University, that I had classes where my lead professor, the head of the department at the time, was there, and so we had some common contacts and interests, and we said, well, this is what we'd like to do late in our career. Well, she went on to one of her mentors left the company, and she eventually left and got another job, vice president. Became a vice president in an insurance company, and unfortunately, on 9/11, she had a class or some type of meeting in the Twin Towers, and she did not survive. And so there's this. I was getting discouraged here about my doctoral program here. Evan and I had been someplace, and I was coming home got off in security, coming out of security here at one of the airports, and I'd really been questioning the whole time, because Evan and I had went away for the weekend because we just needed some time alone, and Evelyn needed some time with me without my head in the book. I'm not sure she got enough, as much as she wanted, but anyway, we at least
some respite.
We at least had some respite, yeah. So I got off coming on. I've been thinking about this all weekend, thinking, is this really why am I doing this? And should I really keep doing this? And I come out of security, collect all my stuff, and I looked up, and they have the big U.S. flag there with the name of everybody that perished in 9/11, right? And and I look up there, and I see your name, and I'm just, suddenly I was reinvigorated. I said, "Yep, I'm gonna keep doing this. Gonna keep pushing forward." And it's amazing sometimes. I just feel like, at different times in your life, you become discouraged, and you just want to say, you want to quit, you want to give up something you're doing, and I believe it's the Lord comes, and speaks to you and says, "Hey, gives you just a little bit of hope that you need, right?" And even my whole doctoral program here is kind of interesting. How I ended up where I ended up here. I wasn't. I don't know. A couple of years ago, I was sitting at a dinner in Chicago with some conference or something I was at, and I was telling the person next to him, that I was interested in potentially doing this, going back to school, but it's hard because most doctoral programs want you to be on site and give up years of your life, to be a low paid adjunct, not adjunct, a low paid teaching assistant, right, as part of your thing. And she said, well, there's a lot of programs nowadays. There's more programs starting up that will let you do this in a hybrid situation or like that. And she says, I don't know, Pepperdine just started one. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know anything about that. So I looked into it, and at the time, all they had was they just started a PhD in education program. I wasn't really sure that's what I wanted, because in the business world, they don't really evaluate. They feel like education's a soft degree, right? And so anyway, I looked into that program. I even went to a weekend intro to that. And the thing is, though, right before the weekend, though, they dropped. And then I had had to make a decision on that, and then the business department came out with their own competing environment, so I dropped out of that particular program, and I went back to look at it. I started looking at the business one. But anyway, at one point where I had to make a key choice on that, somebody else in one of my online courses just out of the blue said, "Oh, my son went to Pepperdine, right?" And I had to make a decision about going forward with the program or not. I was happened to be in the weekend I had to make the decision. I was in Ghana, Africa, and I just thought, God, if you really want me to do this, I don't know, have somebody, one more person to, like I said, I don't know if I guess I've heard of Pepperdine before, but if I'm really supposed to go there, I don't know, give me one more person that mentions this without me prompting them, right? And anyway, so then I was in Ghana, Africa. We were on our way back from a mission, or at least a mission trip,
right.
So it so happened that I got, we were sitting there waiting, and for whatever reason, I don't know, like frequent flyer status or whatever with airline or the sister airline or something. Anyway, two of us got sent off to a separate waiting room for the flight, and we're so like one of these airline clubs,
yeah.
right? They but I mean, we didn't ask for it, and anyway,
Did or you did not?
Did not ask for it. Nope. So, and I don't know, it's kind of strange. It doesn't work quite the same. I don't know how it is, but like a lot of the international places, they have that. Like while you're waiting for the airport, if you got their frequent flyer status, they send you to they send you into what kind of looks like an airport club room,
Yeah.
and then everybody else has to wait in the cattle.
I guess I haven't had that experience.
Yeah, that experience. I don't know. I've seen it once or twice, but this is one of the times. I think I saw it one other time.
Cars, yeah.
But anyway, so the two of us are there, and I don't know, we were talking, and out of the blue, she says, "My son-in-law teaches at Pepperdine."
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll go forward with this, and I got accepted, and I'm still having second thoughts because, like, there's on the business side, there's two types of doctoral degrees, DBA or Doctorate of Business Administration, or PhD. So the DBA is generally considered to be more applied, and a lot of times nowadays, because there's kind of a shortage of PhDs, that's good enough, and based on the American Association of Business Schools, AACSB schools. Anyway, you're allowed so many super scholars, PhDs, and other doctoral. I don't know. So it usually works out. But anyway, they were offering a DBA program, which is one of the things I was going back and forth between. Should I get an education PhD or DBA? Anyway, to make a long story short, I decided it feels like I've got this direction. I'm just going to step out in faith and trust that it'll be the right direction. And so now here I am. I'm 2 years into the program, and Pepperdine's looking at extending their DBA program to offer a PhD if I want to do this for 4 years instead of 3 years. But I almost stepped back and didn't do it just because of that. I looked at another program, but I don't know.
So you're not doing the PhD right now, right?
I'm not doing the
DBA,
PhD now, so I'm on the DBA track. They haven't officially created it.
Yeah.
But supposedly it's going to be. They feel comfortable it's going to be an option. We'll see if it really happens. So 3 years and out. But I'm at the critical point. When you're doing push-ups and you're the the first 20 or so are easy, and then you get into more of the middle ground there, and they get a lot harder, and
The lactic acid builds up.
the lactic acid builds up. Right, that's kind of where I am in my doctoral program here. So
Oh my gosh.
still trying to. I got one class here. I got a professor waiting for my paper yet tonight. They tell me they can give me a couple more. Worst case, they can stall, give me a couple more days here. But I want to get this over as soon as possible so I can sit here and enjoy this wonderful conversation with Josh, which the last 10 minutes have been my monologue here, right?
Well, Michael got the answer to his question, Michael, from
Yeah.
California.
So yeah, Michael got the answer to this question. Okay, but
Oh man.
so
Well, funny thing is, it's funny because I think when that's your mindset, it is very hard to get out of. I mean, it's what you find like rewarding or satisfying. So I mean, there's other external factors, but I have to admit, in the last year, I've looked at other masters I can do, doctorate programs, but because you're just so used to constantly studying, reading, having that challenge ahead of you, and when it's gone, it's kind of you don't really know how to operate, so I feel like I'm there a little bit, but I'm also pragmatic. I want to see what is the end product, and how do I backtrack, like how do I reverse engineer it from there,
Right.
So yeah, I miss sitting down and learning something complex, and part of it getting the threat of a test makes you have to learn it well, and there's a standard you have to live up to. When you're kind of, funny enough, when you're all done as a doctor, you're kind of on your own. Like, and this is probably why there's a lot of variability too, in like how people as doctors work. Like, there's like a general accepted standard, and there's a legal standard that like, were you negligent, or were you not performing the current standard? But it's kind of vague. Like. And that's partly why you see such variability. Canada or other parts of the world versus like the U.S. a lot more litigious, and the idea that resources are so much more available. So a lot of, I'd say, aggressive testing and investigation, but it's driven from like the medical knowledge isn't different. It's just a different culture, but and a different mindset. But anyway, no one's really policing you. I guess the only policing you're getting is if you get sued. But I don't know if that necessarily changes how people practice. So anyway, yeah, you read on your own. I have cases that I'll be sitting up middle of the night, like I'm puzzling over like what's going on. You kind of collaborate with colleagues a bit, but the learning is kind of up to you. And I think it's a lot of people stop learning. You can kind of tell when people finish training by like what the topics they think are still relevant, or the way they handle a problem. It's like, yeah, we haven't been doing that for 20 years, so
yeah.
Or like this is what's in now, like this is what's, but I'm sure within a year or two I'm going to be out of that. It's kind of like with video games, when I was a kid playing, and now if I ever do, which is rare, play video games, it's you want to play the old ones. And when I tried to play Minecraft on Xbox with my sister, I was just like running around in circles for 20 minutes and gave up. So we all fall into the same kind of habits, in whatever context it is. You just get comfortable with what's familiar. But in some ways, you get comfortable with always being a student. But if anyone has any ideas, let me know. Go ahead.
I was saying, I think it's really difficult now today if you're in I was going to say professional career, but I guess most careers, I think, are very impacted by technology and the pace of change in technology, and it's the question, there's all these questions about, well, what's it, all these people that are in debt with college education. Is college still worth the money, or are there other routes? I mean, my career, the best, the most dollar for dollar best investment I ever made was in junior college, where they taught me how to program in the first place and got me this job skill that that lasted 20 years. Well, I still had just had to learn how to program in different languages after that. But as the technology changed, but nowadays you have these you have certificate programs. You have if you wanted to get into programming now, I mean, basically what we had was a associate's degree, which is kind of similar to what the boot camp, these coding boot camps will give you nowadays, where you go for 9 months, concentrated months, where you learn how to program. That was pretty much what we had in junior college, except it was 2 years, and besides the programming, we also had the business. We had to take accounting. We had to get some type of business background to go with it. But I mean, if you're just taking out the coding courses, they could have potentially been done, crashed, put together into a 9-month period.
Yeah. Funny story. I was in 10th grade and I signed up for a computer science class, and to this day I cannot believe this happened, and that I have like a lot of regret around this. But this is in the backdrop of growing up that like there was a lot of these conspiracy or kind of concerns about microchips and like I'm not gonna get too into it, but like end times, all this stuff and whatever. And so I had like this association in my head as like a 12-year-old of like microchips and all this. So I would get like anxious like anytime somebody talked about this. So I'm in this like computer science class, and we're learning like basics of computer science, and I like couldn't take it, and I ended up dropping the class. Like I look back and it's kind of like, I mean, in a sense it's embarrassing, but I mean, it's 12-year-old me, I don't really care. But like I have a lot of regret around that. Like I look, one of my brothers, Ben, kind of gets to live in that world of like, he knows programming and he likes science and biology, and there's just such a cool world now with biotech, genetics. I mean, even crazy enough, like these vaccines, like people often ask like, well, how did they make these things so fast? Like biotech has advanced so far, like with sequencing, and even like you can reverse engineer protein like in a heartbeat, and you can sequence and like comb databases of DNA like that. It's unbelievable. Do you have the charger for the?
Yeah.
You need to charge the phone. So anyway, I think both from like an innovation standpoint and the future of what's possible. Like if you can program and or at least that space, like there's just so many possibilities. This phone's dying here, so.
Can you tell if it's charging?
Charging.
It is charging. Great.
So yeah, maybe I'll have to sign up for your classes and learn how to program.
SUNY Cortland, online, the winter session between spring and fall and spring just started here.
Can I audit?
One
Can I audit the
you
course?
can come in and supposedly, I don't know, we're supposed to get students from throughout the SUNY system, right? Because it's an online course, and so anybody in SUNY that's registered as a SUNY student can sign up for it. But anyway, it's the basic one. I would take it's pretty basic. Cap 100 is.
Yeah. Can I watch on double speed?
Double speed. I definitely watch on double speed. I do. That's one thing with my online courses I really enjoy is I can watch any lectures. Yeah. I can watch at double speed.
So when I was in medical school in Toronto, we had an interesting setup where I was in the Mississauga campus, which was a new campus, and this whole satellite business was starting out. And the idea is that you have the old medical school, but we need more trainees, but we also want to serve another community. So 200 students were in Toronto, and they opened up another 54 in Mississauga. New campus, old campus, but new building, state of the art. This is 2011, I guess I started, and they would have most of the lectures were in Toronto, and they would come onto a big screen, to Mississauga, and most of the time you're pretty unsupervised, so you could show up in your pajamas and just sit there and watch the lectures, and you could buzz in and ask a question, but most of the time we didn't. And they also had them online. They weren't live, but you could get them pretty quick and watch them in like double, triple speed. So needless to say, some kids never went to class. So these are who your doctors are, folks. They never went to class. They watched the lectures, and then they took the exams and showed up for like the mandatory sessions, and that was it. So when I got engaged and I was making trips to Syracuse, I would try, Thursday night or Friday morning, I would leave and maybe skip some class and just watch the lectures on like I would just listen to them on double speed. So needless to say, I don't think I learned second year of medical school very well, but managed to pass and jump through all the hoops. So, and now I think you can a lot of times you can just live stream them right away, but I don't know if people want to hear that there. Although I have to say that the U.S. is kind of a wild place where, especially around nurse practitioner training, is like, I mean, I'm sure there's good schools and stuff, but you can get an online degree, 2 years, like there's some clinical experience, but you are not very supervised. And I see people in the ICU doing like when they're bored, they're just like going through their online multiple choice questions at work. So I don't know, mixed feelings about that. Well, you're watching Coast to Coast with Josh and Rod. We are outside of Chicago. We're in Indiana, on the way to Akron, Ohio. Thanks for joining us. We have a few viewers still on the line. Always appreciate the input. We had some comments earlier I didn't get a chance to read, and that was when I was asking if I should do the medical channel, I was told to forget that and just keep doing Trump and Fauci impressions. So that was, I guess, a compliment in a way on my impressions and not on people's desire to hear my medical opinion, which is fine. Maybe that's not exactly what was meant, but that's taken well. Give you show you the road here. It's a little darker than that, but dark and dreary.
I haven't tried.
I was trying to see if I could get a caller in, actually, but they have to consent first, is the problem. So what does winding down in your career ever look like? I mean, you're kind of, not to keep belaboring the point, but retirement or some kind of hybrid model, some kind of, I guess, should some people say you shouldn't retire ever, so I guess it's I have two feelings about it. When you look at things from a Christian standpoint, is there a point where I'm supposed to just sit back and relax and do, just enjoy what I've hoarded, I don't know.
Some people say the Bible doesn't really have retirement from an occupation or whatever. Just like the patriarchs would basically eventually turn everything over to the next generation, to the firstborn, and go on from that. But I don't know. I mean, for me, personally, it's even this. It's like it's hard because Evelyn and I are like different ages. Evelyn's about 4 years younger than I am, and so at this point she was still wanting to continue to working, and I was looking at going back for my PhD. So I said, well, if you're planning to continue working for a couple more years, then I'm going to go do this doctoral thing and teach and see where this goes. At this point, I'm afraid I may be digging myself a hole. I'm going to have to work till I'm 70. I'm going to have to teach till I'm 70 full time just to make all this effort pay off here. But to recoup my some of my tuition expenses. But,
Yeah.
I've always envisioned my retirements being more focused on, I'd like to continue to do mission trips and things like that, and I'd like to my retirement. I don't know, but I am kind of I must say, well, in my family's medical history is kind of I guess infiltrated my thinking on this somewhat. Is like, my dad got to be 78, which doesn't seem very old now, and then one day he just passed away from a heart attack or some type of heart problem. And in the Cook family, there's always been a lot of heart problems. And then on the Stuber side, my mom's side, they was always strong and healthy, but unfortunately a lot of them ended up with Alzheimer's and being in nursing homes for years. And so in some respects, seeing both of those, my dad's passing looks more ideal at this point, but at 78, he seemed really healthy, and we already knew mom was experiencing some dementia. But it was kind of a shock to lose him at that point in my life. And the thing I've seen is, a lot of people that retire, if they don't have a purpose, they don't have something in their projects or something that they're really excited about getting into. It seems like, I don't know, this is not statistically based, but my random samples that I see, I've read this too, but there's more database documentation on there, but people tend to go downhill faster if they lose their purpose, and so I don't know. I don't know how many. Generally, like 10 years, I've been able to do different things in my career, like about 10 years in a stretch. And after about 10 years, I get bored and I want to look for something else. So here I've been. If I teach till I'm 70, I'll probably be looking for something else to do, maybe I'll even, I may just go part-time at some point and continue doing some teachings on the side, keep my hands, my fingers in it. It depends. Education, again, I'm still wondering if there's going to suddenly be kind of a revolution here, or change, because it seems like the whole system is again built more for an age that doesn't exist anymore. People, it's not like you can really get out of school or graduate and then do a job and do the same thing for the next 40 years and then retire. The world changes so fast, and there's, in my mind, there's going to be more and more need for continual reinvention of relearning and reinvention of your career or what you want to do.
We can just teach the coal miners how to program, right?
Teach the coal miners how to program.
Apparently, I was a big advocate of that at one point. I don't remember that, but
okay.
That was my solution to transitioning the economy.
Yeah. So, ideally, I'd like to take some more mission trips. My ultimate retirement here, and the thing is too is that you've got this. Even if the Lord gives you good health, you've got potentially this narrow window, and you can travel and do these types of things that you didn't have the time or the money to do before. assuming that you've been saving diligently all your life, you may have the money
Yeah.
if the stock market doesn't crash. But it's, I mean, even my parents, I know my mom always wanted to travel more than she got to. You know, my dad was he always had the apartments, which were, the rental units, they were always kind of a noose around their neck. And I mean, she did get, they went to Europe and traveled around once, and then they went to Europe again for my brother's wedding. Spent some time over there, but you know, my mom, I think my mom would have traveled more if my dad would have been more open to it. And I always told my dad, because his first international trip was for the Korean War, that biased his perception of the world the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Tremont, Illinois, boy, nothing better than being in Tremont, Illinois, day in and day out, right? So, I mean, my dad wasn't even one. My mom was wanting him to go down, and they had been invited by Paul and Dee Getz to come down and visit in Florida, you know, and my dad never got around to doing that.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, they weren't people that thought about that. Went to, you know, it gets cold in Illinois too, but they weren't people that went to Florida.
Yeah, they like familiarity.
Yeah, like, you know. So, what about you? What do you think about retirement?
Man.
What would you do in your retirement?
Well, I think about it, but I feel guilty for thinking about it, because I don't know if that's what. It's just, part of me doesn't feel right to think about it. You know, it's like.
Right.
Should I be assuming I'm gonna live that long? Should I be assuming that I'm gonna be like, the default is to think about relaxing and, you know, and just enjoying the fruit of your labor and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm kind of more of the mindset of like, is that even what we're supposed to do? And, you know, and also, yeah, I mean, I really, to be honest, I lose kind of my motivation and I get a little purposeless even in my like week off not working. You know, so I do the 1 week on, 1 week off, and you know, it's probably not what my wife wants to hear, but you know, because I can't even imagine not working at all. And it's not even about just like work, like, but to be doing something and being busy. So, you know, I was talking to some of these guys in medical school now when we were at the wedding, and you know, it's kind of, when I reflect back, like I went to medical school wanting to be a surgeon. I was going to go work, once I was done, I'm going to go and save the world and go work at some foreign hospital, and I say that I've kind of done the exact opposite. Like, I'm in high resource center doing high resource work that is like low, not that it's low value, but a lot of you realize like ICU, and it's hard to maybe appreciate if you're not there, like a lot of these people have like extremely chronic problems and their quality of life is very bad, and they just kind of come in and out of the ICU and as a rotating door until they pass away. So there's like, you have some wins for sure, but there's a lot of, you know, we had some young guys with COVID, or you'll have somebody with some major infection and you catch it and you feel great, or like they have a PE, blood clot in the lungs, and you catch it and you treat them and they get better. But unfortunately, that's like the minority. So again, a lot of this is this chronic conditions and kind of feeling like, why are we doing this? And why, you know, they say most of your healthcare dollars are spent at the end of life, and we see that in the ICU so much. And so anyway, the moral of the story, just that I went from, you know, for example, if you're a surgeon in the middle of Africa or whatever, you know, at least conceptually you're doing a lot of value, and you're doing a lot for people on a like per time unit basis, right? And I feel like I kind of, in a sense, part of me feels like I sold out for some reason, and it just kind of just happened. I mean, it's the natural progression of life, I guess, but you know, so maybe there's a point of redemption down the road, or even now. But it's funny, like too, I remember going to a good Samaritan's Purse, the organization. They had they fund a bunch of hospitals across the world in this kind of setting and capacity, and
This guy's pulling out.
that's dangerous. They semi just merged into the road at like 3 miles an hour into the left lane, or right lane rather. Come on, buddy. So anyway, I was at this meeting, and it was kind of like I was a medical student. There was a bunch of more senior doctors, kind of like a dinner, and someone got up and talked. And the sense I got was like all these people were, oh, there's some kind of jam up here. All these people were willing to donate money, but they were all tied down, and you just got this sense of regret that like people all had a similar conviction. Most of these were Christians who wanted to, you know, give back and this and that, and they had not, you know, they could give their money, but they couldn't give their time or their skills, you know, and it kind of felt like, well, and to me, they were like, there was kind of this excitement. There was a couple of us younger people, and it's like, oh, like you guys can go and do the work. And then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go do the work. And then now it's like, I didn't, you know, so, and I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that too. Like it's, you know, I've been to, for example, Africa twice, 7 and 5 weeks stretches in the medical capacity. I've been in Paraguay for 5 weeks, and you realize it's not just about going somewhere and, you know, saving people like that. If that worked, you know, we wouldn't have problems still today in different areas. But so, and then part of me wants to just get like a, you know, save up and get a catamaran and just sail around the ocean, but I don't think my wife is fully sold on that idea yet. And I also probably feel really guilty for doing that, but at the end of the day, it's like you can have these plans, and we can, you know, you try to save, you try to plan for the future, but I also live with the reality of like, I've seen so many people die, and it's, you know, I was telling when we were at Frank's place, like I feel like I have a bit of PTSD. I do have PTSD from it, I do, and I think almost anybody in healthcare does, especially in ICU. Like you kind of bottle it up, and you just try not to think about it, and but you just see so many times where like a life is cut short, and you fully accept that could happen to you at any time. So I have no illusions of like living a long life, even though, you know, I was fortunate to have all my grandparents growing up. On the other hand, I didn't really get to meet, I didn't get to meet basically 3 of Renee's grandparents. I know your mom was still alive, but she had already got pretty advanced dementia. I remember seeing her once, I think, but I didn't get to meet them, so that's
Yeah, I mean, our life is but a vapor.
yeah.
Back to Ecclesiastes here, you know,
Yeah,
vanity
100%.
and vanity, all is vanity. Soap bubbles,
Yep.
more modern translations.
Or spray bottle, right? You just spritz, and it's there for a second, and it's gone. You know,
yeah.
that's what I think about. So then the end of you preached on this on Sunday, right? The end of that chat, or the end of the whole book, is what's the conclusion of the whole matter? Fear God, keep His commandments. So what is His commandments? You know, it's to love God with all your heart, you know, to love your neighbor as yourself, all that stuff. And so I think, you know, that's my answer to what am I going to do when I get retired, if I ever retire, you know. But
I don't know, I mean, I try not to, well, I've tried to do what I can to plan, but at the same time, you know, I try to say, you know, and Evelyn's going to remind us, you know, it's all, you know, your retirement account, yeah, it's nice when it grows, but it's all funny money. It could be gone. Be gone at any time. And I don't think that's an excuse not to save. In fact, I think it's very important to plan for the future and to save, but you also have to be, you know, realize that, you know, ultimately God's in control, and you want to do the right thing along the way, but you'll have to wait and see how it all turns out.
Must have been an accident or something here. There's quite the slowdown here. Arriving at 9:32 in Akron, Ohio. Yep, we are in the Eastern time zone by now. Wow, we made it.
You're in the Eastern time zone.
Yep. 9 more hours of driving. That's out of 42 hours, I think, of driving. I have to say, the prettiest spot, I think, is Utah. Basically between Las Vegas and Colorado, like Denver. That stretch is just, which I've only done it, I guess I've only done it once. With the RV trip, we went through Utah, which is a beautiful state. Wow. But now it was like at night there was the moon glistening off the snow and off the cliffs and the mesas, and then during the day was winding through these canyons, and you just have like walls on both sides going up 50 feet. Just super cool. Trouble for us folks out on the east is, and I guess probably even from California, like it's hard to get to those places. Like you really gotta commit, Oh, we're merging up here, that's why. Yeah, I'm fortunate to have both of my grandparents in Ohio, still living on their own. My grandpa's still mowing over a dozen lawns a week.
Wow. It's almost as many as I mowed when I was a boy.
Yeah.
We used to have at one point we had 15 lawns we mowed every week.
A couple of years ago, he actually fell off a ladder. The ladder like buckled underneath him, I think, and he fell probably 8 feet and busted his wrist. And I remember a lot of us deep down were thinking, well, that's the beginning of the end, or the end of the mowing career, and nope, back at it. So that's just it, right? Like he does, I don't think he needs to do that. He wants to.
Yeah.
He enjoys it.
Well, I mean, my dad was always really something he really enjoyed was having a freshly cut lawn or the landscaping done just right. And
Yep.
Once when we were younger, he organized this big summer project where he decided my mom and dad always had a garden, and so he brought in this fresh dirt and he created this big terraced, this whole terraced backyard with the garden in it, and he took these cement blocks and then he would chip off the ends of them to make them rough, and then we would lay these bricks, and I think all we could do was pick up the bricks or the blocks and bring them and set them in front of him, and then he would chip them off and then we'd pick them up and would stack them, and that was our main contribution. But I remember we made that was a summer project that we did one year when he landscaped the backyard. But me personally, I took a different track. I always said that when I got older that I was going to minimize my yard maintenance, or the amount of time that I spent on my yard maintenance, because that was not something I enjoyed that much.
Right.
Of course, my dad also just enjoyed the physical labor. I mean, he ended up, originally he started in the shop at Caterpillar, and then he got moved up eventually into a pumping. So if he got a headache, he'd go out and mow the yard, and put a little extra oomph into it, right?
Yeah, that's opposite of most people's experience. That's funny.
So I'm happy to take some Tylenol nowadays if I have a headache. But.
Well, we are getting to a little over an hour. We got see if we can get Sam on the line here. Sam from California. Sam from California. How's it going? How's it going? Can you hear us?
Good. Good, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep. Are you still commuting, or?
Yeah, I'm about 15 minutes from home.
You were off for a little bit there. How's it back at work?
Just fine.
Yeah.
Okay. I get Friday off the holidays for the New Year.
Awesome. What's on your mind, Sam? Why don't you? Have you been tuning in?
Yeah, I was listening for the last 30 minutes, 35 minutes. I was like, when you guys were talking about like retirement, about what should we do, I was actually thinking, because Rod preached on Ecclesiastes 3, and I was thinking about that message and about like what Ecclesiastes 3 says. There's a time to do this, there's a time to do that. So maybe at the end of it, there's a time to retire.
That's a good thought there. Good point. But I guess
there you go.
Yeah. All right. So appreciate your insight. Hope you have. What's that?
Maybe I'm wrong.
Hey, it's at least worth thinking about. So why don't you tell us a little bit of what kind of work you did today?
I was at the airport. It's a distribution hub. We're as a mechanical contractor, we're installing conveyance systems.
Okay.
On this,
Sorry, say that last part again. Sorry, we lost you there.
I said I'm getting pulled off for like a week or so, like to another job, and coming back doing other work, but
Gotcha. All right.
Site, gonna start commissioning probably in another month. Start running everything, fine tuning it.
Yeah.
The aspects of UPS. It's a UPS facility.
Gotcha.
New construction.
All right. Well, the signal's a little weak here. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, how many states you guys drive through today?
Today we did. I guess we were in Nebraska early this morning, Illinois, Indiana, and we'll be in Ohio. Hopefully in the next few hours. Actually, we might almost be in Ohio already. So 4. Yep. It's good to be near the end here. Hopefully in time for the holidays. So.
What time did you guys get on the road this morning?
At basically 6 a.m. So we I was explaining earlier. Yeah, we got on the road. We drove straight to kind of Illinois, Tremont area, and met up for brunch with Dirk and Erica, Rod's brother. Funny enough, actually, as we were like 10 minutes from the restaurant, we passed the Apostolic Christian Fellowship Hall. So, once you get up there, it's not uncommon that you run into stuff just driving by. But anyway, thanks for calling. The signal's not great, and we're gonna wrap up the stream. So, word from Sam is maybe at the end of a long career, it is a time to retire. So, anyway, we'll see you later. I'll say hi to the grandparents for you. All right, bye now. All right, folks, maybe we'll get another stream in tomorrow at the end as we wrap it up back to Syracuse. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.